Chapter 1. Michael took a final sip of his wine. It had been a nice wine, as the label had promised, full of colorful notes like cherry, chocolate, and cinnamon. Perfect for dinner, especially red meat. The irony in that made Michael chuckle. But he would much rather be drinking a good cider. There was a small convenience store about 20 minutes from the house, but there was an amazing cidery even closer. Bold Rock Cidery had been through a major renovation recently, and while Michael hadn't yet taken the time to see all of the improvements, he had enjoyed quite a bit of their product. The idea of flying over, breaking into their storeroom, and absconding with a little selection flashed across his mind before disappearing. On any other night, he'd have already done so, but tonight he settled for the wine. Tonight, Michael was studying someone. Just over 2 miles away stood Humpback Rock, a massive greenstone outcropping near the peak of Humpback Mountain. It rose about 3,000 feet in elevation and was an extremely popular hike due to its proximity to an easily accessible entrance to the Blue Ridge Parkway and multiple colleges, all within an hour's drive, which ushered in droves of day hikers and selfie sticks. It wasn't unusual to see dozens of hikers on the trail leading up to the summit and picnicking atop the rocks, especially on the weekend. What was unusual, though, was seeing someone atop the rocks at night. The hike itself, though strenuous at times, wasn't a difficult one. It was short. Then again, the elevation gain was considerable for the average person, and while the trail was well marked, there were quite a few places where you could twist an ankle or take a nasty spill if you weren't paying attention. So to see someone out on the rocks at night was unusual. Not unheard of, but strange. Beyond that, what made the man Michael was studying even more peculiar was that this was the second week in a row he had appeared on the summit of Humpback just after sundown. The mysterious figure always arrived at the same time, sat in the same spot, and always stayed for the night, only leaving when the sun began to peek over the horizon, for which Michael was thankful. These were all strange behaviors, but nothing too weird, really. Just someone with a penchant for sitting in the wild alone at night. Admittedly, the view was quite magical from there, particularly the stars. What was most puzzling, though, was that Michael could never discern where the man came from or how he left. There was a parking lot at the bottom of the rocks that was clearly visible from where Michael sat watching. There was never a car to mark the man's arrival, nor his departure. He wasn't driving there, and no one was dropping him off and picking him back up. He could have been hiking in from somewhere, but Michael never saw him on the trails once he left the rocks. There was a small campground at Humpback, but there were no tents visible right now, and there hadn't been for the better part of the summer. It was just too hot for the average camper. For all Michael could tell, the man just magically appeared, spent the night sitting on the rocks overlooking the valley below, and then disappeared, only to repeat the process the next night.